Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. Boy, do we have a special episode coming hot for you today, right off the presses. Folks, we're going to have to get into our lead story here, and that is, of course, Kristi Noem's husband's leaked messages. Now, if you're watching the podcast, you might notice that I am, and I don't usually show you this side of me. This is not usually something that I show to the podcast viewers for age restriction reasons that may cross into distraction. Frankly, I want people to be focused on the content of my words. Eyes up here. But some of you might be noticing as my big voluptuous breasts hit my microphone that I am a fully bimbo-fied sissy slut for this week's episode. And this is one of those moments where I feel like I need to come out in solidarity with Mr. Noem here. Because when you are a father, a husband, a citizen, a U.S. citizen, and that is important in that family, of course. A citizen of this nation, it is hard to be a man. It is hard. There is a male loneliness epidemic. Sometimes you turn to the Manosphere because you're thinking, man, it's so hard being a man. Maybe I need someone who will tell women they're sluts, right? And sometimes that leaves you coming up empty too. This is man's search for meaning. Viktor Frankl wrote a book about it. In his case, he was actually talking about his experience in the concentration camps during the Holocaust and how the pain of that helped him, realize how to basically fortify his philosophy, how the pain and struggle of that. And of course, that's a good book too. But man's search for meaning exists today as well. And a lot of it comes in the loneliness, the lack of purpose. And maybe you get to a point where you're thinking, it's gotta be so easy being a lady. It's gotta be so easy being a lady, walking around with a big, fresh pair of fucking milkies. And you're just thinking, man, that'd be nice to have a fucking big pair of hoo-haws. Nice big pair of tits to guide me through the world, make my life a little bit easier. And so you throw them on. So you inflict, so short, so fine. So fine. Dad gets a night off and he likes to shove balloons under his shirt and talk to some other ladies who have injected saline into their tits, and everyone's just having a big old titty time. We don't got to bring politics into this. Why do we have to make everything so political? Why do we have to make everything so... Sure, apparently he was messaging with a undocumented, potentially a sex worker who was here illegally, and told them who he was and what he was up to, and then that person's squeal. Fine, sure, you could make it about politics if you want to, but it's actually about friendship, the loneliness of our atomized digital age, and how nice it is to be someone else. Sometimes walk around all day, some fucking flat-chested dude, just thinking, what if I had a different experience? What if I was living in an entirely different life? Some of the reports coming out of it. Kristi Noem, of course, if you need a little backstory, if you're a little behind, it would be hard to have missed this story. If you are somehow behind, Kristi Noem, the former head of the Department of Homeland Security, securing our homeland. Kristi Noem's husband, some messages leaked. He's been involved in the bimboification scene. He has spent money with some sex workers who have big, large boobies. He says he likes big, large boobies, which is not. Look, it's one of those takes that's like the general is not that controversial, but you take it to its logical extreme. Sure, it is. This is like conservatism versus the far right. You know, like some people are like, oh, yeah, I could see how bloated government's a bad thing. And then, you go to the far right and you get kind of what we're getting now. So anyway, it's the same thing with tits, right? Tits, it's like, oh, people, I like big boobs. Okay, yeah, cool. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. But then all of a sudden it's like, I like boobs this big. And everyone's like, whoa, all of a sudden you're a freak. All of a sudden you're a freak. I thought this was America. Now, her husband, Brian, who's a part of it, and I'll say it with my big tits out, my community, and everyone knows I'm a big bimbo-fied sissy slut. It's common knowledge. Put it in my bio. I'm in the Netflix Fest. Can we add that to my bio for the Netflix Fest? Fully bimbo-fied sissy slut. Come on. My boobs keep hitting the mic. It is hard to be a woman in entertainment. It's hard. So, Brian, I believe that's his name. This is great because usually I do a bunch of research for an episode and I saw this story. I was like, I think we got it. So let's call him Brian, if that is his real name. I think it is. He apparently was into this, and some of these photos leaked. He shows his face in them. He's had these conversations. The Daily Mail leaked it. I'll read the article so that we can have full background here, and then I'm going to add a little extra context here because it goes a little bit deeper than you'd think. And I do want to say this because I don't want anyone to accuse me of operating in bad faith. Because that would be incorrect, that would be not true, and that would disregard my high status in the bimbofication sissy slut community. But Brian, he spells it Bryon, and maybe that's some of the root of his problems. Everyone's spelling their kids' names differently, and no one's going, what's that going to make them do? What if I put a big bulbous O in the middle of a word that's not supposed to be in? Maybe my child's going to be obsessed with that shape for the rest of his life. These are questions. Trump reacts to report that Kristi Noem's husband was in the bimbofication fetish photos. They confirmed it. That's too bad. President Trump has reacted to the allegations that former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's husband, Brian Noem, has been participating in online fetish forums. They confirmed it. Trump said over the phone, wow. Well, I feel very badly for the family if that's the case. That's too bad. With all the beauty and grace that he shows to people who even mildly disagree with him politically, I haven't seen anything Trump told the outlet. I don't know about it, blah, 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 blah. Okay. A Daily Mail investigation published on the 31st, Trans Day of Visibility, some have noted, reportedly uncovered online messages and photos of Brian participating in numerous online fetish forums. He also paid $25,000 to chat with online fetish models in the bimbofication scene. It's a scene, folks. Oh, it's a scene, and I'm in it, which fetishizes performers who turn themselves into real-life dolls by using silicone injections and other surgical enhancements. The Daily Mail reported the messages show Brian praising the models and stating that he loves huge, ridiculous boobs. He also alluded to his marriage to the high-ranking government official. Imagine talking to a bimbo with huge, ridiculous boobs who maybe is sounding a little ESL, a little English as a second language, and be like, my wife's the fucking Department of Homeland Security, and she's being such a fucking bitch right now. She won't let me play with my friends. I'm just wondering what he's thinking in that moment. I think he's thinking maybe this is something we'll relate over. I think she's being a bitch. You think she's being a bitch. Let me see some more of those huge, ridiculous boobs. Now, the fact that he also wears the huge, ridiculous boobs, I think and people are going to make fun of him for this. They're going to ridicule him for this. They're going to make fun of him forever for this. But do you ever stop and think about this is someone who is showcasing more empathy than his significant other. This is someone that is donating to the community. This is someone that is saying, I want to be like you. He's not wearing, like, Kristi Noem would wear a sombrero in a mean way. When he's wearing the big, huge, ridiculous boobs, I think he's saying, like, I'm a fan. It's like when I wear a football jersey. It's like, I'm not Fred Warner, but I like what he's doing and I want to show some respect. You know, I think that's what he's doing, and it is, and I'm touching mine, and I'm touching my huge, ridiculous boobs, and it is nice. Ms. Noem is devastated. The family was blindsided by this, and they ask for privacy and prayers at this time. News of the scandal. Now, this is just a busy time. News of the scandal broke weeks after Kristi's departure from the DHS. She was fired by Trump following a series of combative congressional hearings in which she was questioned about the agency's aggressive immigration enforcement actions, which culminated in the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, who she then called domestic terrorists. She was also questioned about creating a $220 million taxpayer-funded ad campaign that encouraged undocumented immigrants to self-deport. She was also asked about her alleged relationship with advisor Corey Lewandowski, with whom she is rumored to be having an affair. The pair has vehemently denied the rumors, especially following a Feb 12 report from the Wall Street Journal, which alleged that Lewandowski had a U.S. Coast Guard pilot fired after Noem's blanket was left on a plane. Let's pause on this. Well, let's finish it, and then let's go back to the blanket. Prior to the alleged blanket incident, on October 2025, reports emerged from the DHS that DHS planned to purchase 2 Gulfstream private jets for $172 million for Noem's use, and there's some other corruption deals, self-dealing, and a bunch of money went to a fund that was recently set up by a family friend. I mean, it's been a busy time at the Noem house. Now, it's not lost on me that she's the Department of Homeland Security. Whatever you think about the job she did, unanimously hated, actually, left, right, and center. But let's play it more down the line than that. Whatever you think, her job was to keep the homeland safe. Meanwhile, her husband is at home trotting out fake tits on chat. She's having an affair with a former Trump advisor, allegedly, and she self-reportedly shot a dog in the face. That's a lot for one homeland. How's our homeland doing? Now, here's the deal. Apparently, sources say that the Lewandowski affair, which they deny, is real. This is what a lot of people say, that it is a thing, and that apparently Trump finds it amusing that even like the couple would go to events and be kind of like open and doing whatever. Now that would be, if they're just open, let him put big fake tits on and enjoy the bimboification scene. See, this is the problem with this story, right? And I don't spend time talking about the significant others of people who are in the private eye. I'm only talking about this because of the fact that I have inside information on this, given my long history as one of the sluttiest queens in the bimboification scene. And I know Brian. And I know Brian well. And I told him, honey, those tits ain't big enough. That's what I told him. I told him that. I saw him in the spandex. I told him to work on his legs. If you're going to be a real-life Barbie doll, you're going to need some more junk in the trunk. Brian, I know you're busy. Take your bimboification seriously. Now, again, I would not... this is a private matter. The only thing is, and this is where things get a little squirrely, when you oversee the killing of 2 American citizens and blatantly lie about what you saw and disrupt their family life, then it becomes a little bit more schadenfreude. There becomes a little bit more schadenfreude. It's not about a political disagreement, it's about it's kind of about hypocrisy and about like the life that you're saying you're living, and this hilarious notion that no one really even believes anymore, that like we are the party of God, and then meanwhile getting milks out. So look, I'm not going to kink shame Brian. I will encourage him to do a better job. If you want to be a beautiful lady with big, ridiculously huge boobs, take it seriously, sweetheart. I'm not going to say that it's entirely fair game. Do I want to know? It's a real question. Do I want to know the search history and online sex habits of the significant others of every member of the United States government? I do not. But when you're going to be a twat all year, like she was, and then you give us a gift, we're going to take it, folks. We're just going to take it. We're just going to enjoy it, okay? And we're going to say, importantly, that we do support Brian's efforts to discover what's going on with him. And I think we support it. And I wonder what his experience has been like, because I would imagine that the nut is next level. I would kind of imagine if you're married to a high-ranking member of the Republican Party and you're like I've never been into something as interesting as big, huge, ridiculous, absurdly sized boobs and wanting to wear them myself. I haven't had that. I imagine it's exhilarating. But I imagine it is probably counteracted by a level of shame that I like, now that it's happening and we have to enjoy it. It is our job. I'm like, that's gotta suck. That's the worst post-nut clarity that someone can have. 3 months later, delayed post-nut clarity, and now you're the main story in the, like, let's not forget there's a war going on. And instead of talking about the Strait of Hormuz, we're talking about the gay of wherever they live. And it's not actually gay. It's actually, and this is what Brian should say, I'm the straightest guy of all time. Dude, I love boobs so much that I want the biggest ones on the planet. And furthermore, when I'm looking at the biggest ones on the planet, I want to wear a pair myself. I'm a fan of the game. I am literally the world's #1 tit guy. All purpose. The #1 tit guy. And that's what he should do. He should make an Instagram reel and be like, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Tits aren't cool now? Oh, I'm sorry. We're putting Sydney Sweeney in every goddamn ad in America, and tits aren't cool? Oh. Yeah, you want to call me a hypocrite because my wife is deporting illegal immigrants and I'm sending them money because I want to jerk off to them because the ones that I found have big, ridiculous, huge boobs? Oh, yeah? I never said I agreed with my wife. I'm supporting people who are here. And in fact, I'm saying, you don't like my wife? I don't even know if I like her either. So I'm supporting her opposition and I'm supporting big boobs. And now America, tell me where I'm wrong. That's what, if I'm Brian Noem's PR, you come out right now. You say that right now. Oh, I'm a hypocrite? You're a hypocrite. Tits for life. Well, that's it. That's it for Brian. Fun day for everyone. Lindsey Graham was wandering around Disneyland alone. This was making the rounds. It's just one of those things where it's like, what do you want in this? Like, honestly, a real question. In modern America, if you are looking for relationship advice, if you're looking for a model relationship in this country and you don't have one in your life, because if you have one in your life, you're like, okay, I know, I've seen healthy things in my normal life. But if you're just looking at the internet, if you're looking at entertainment, if you're looking at politics, and you're like, what is a good relationship that I can aspire to? What do you have? You have Kristi Noem Brian's at home wearing fake tits, jerking off to bimbos with fake tits. You got Lindsey Graham, who's pretending he's not gay, wandering around Disneyland with a child scepter by himself, and we all know that he gets plowed by DC prostitutes. And that's your ideal conservative relationship. Now you want to look towards a more like a nice, considerate, liberal relationship, and you have this sort of shit. What is this? This is a relationship. This is a relationship coach. This is what you get on the empathy, like the new era side of like, let's reapproach relationships. Let's do them in a new way, okay? And this is the advice you get. This is a low desire, high desire partner and how they are supposed to communicate. Let's go ahead, folks, and take it away.
Hey, do you want to turn off the TV and go snuggle in bed?
Yeah, that sounds so nice. What kind of snuggle are you up for?
Let's be naked and let's talk for a bit. I feel like we haven't had much time to connect this week.
Hey, thank you so much for initiating. You know how much being close means to me.
Thank you for asking me what I am up for. Didn't feel like pressure, and let's see where things go.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too.
If that's a healthy relationship, give me fake tits and I'm jerking off to a sex worker. And I don't want to overreact. I think being reactionary is a huge part of how this country gets to a bad place. But when I see that, I'm like, give me fake tits. I'm jerking off to a sex worker because at least there's some honor in that lie. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What was that? I don't want to see that on my feed anymore. Why am I getting that? I know how to communicate in a healthy relationship. I don't want to see that on my feed. What is that? What is that? We're going to go snuggle in bed naked and talk. I want some time to connect. Look, I am not the hardest line gender advocate, but why the fuck would you make the male say that? What? This is my number one critique. We get to it every week. I think about it all the time, and it's important, and it's why I keep saying it. The internet's job is to show you the weirdest shit possible, and you forget that real stuff exists out there. And then we lose our minds a little bit. Okay? And then we maybe we go online, maybe we put some balloons under our whatever. Yeah. But here's how that actually goes. You don't talk. That's how it goes. You don't have that conversation. What is that? If that's how you have to converse, your relationship might not be worth saving. That's my honest belief. I'm a huge fan of communicating. I think communicating is the single most important part of a relationship, being open, starting to understand your partner's needs, getting ahead of them so that you don't fight. All these things are so important and so valuable. But if you need a coach to tell you to be a fucking weird beta, then just give it up and start going online and jerking off the bimbos. I'm just telling you, it might be healthier. All right, that's the relationship part of the show. I'm gonna de-bimboify myself for the back half here, just honestly, so I don't ruin this shirt. But come on out, see me on the road, folks. I'm in Minneapolis this weekend. First two shows sold out, so we added two more. If you want to get your tickets, now would be the time to get those. Calgary, Naples, Dania Beach, Dallas, Bernalillo, New Mexico, Cleveland, Rosemont, Chicago, San Francisco, Sacramento, Houston, Brea, Tempe, Edmonton, St. Pete, Charlotte, Detroit, San Diego. And if you haven't somehow watched it, please subscribe to my other YouTube and watch my comedy special, Joey Avery Live in San Francisco. Hey, tell a friend about that. Tell a friend. Tell your fucking grandma. If you're, and I'm sorry if you're going through this, if you're spending time in a hospital or a hospice and you're near someone who's just kind of checked out, put it on loop on the TV. That part was dark. But look, everyone needs laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. It's worth a shot. Get it out there. Thank you guys so much for everyone who has listened. All right, little update on the old war in Iran. This is more or less what we assumed would happen. Trump has gotten over it because it was harder than he thought it was going to be. So he has an address tonight, I think at 9 o'clock. This will come out the day after that. I will update this if anything crazy happens. But like honestly, here's the deal. It hasn't come out yet. And this is basically, we don't need to, for all, everyone's saying he's unpredictable. I don't find that to be true. The address is basically just going to be him. I would imagine it's going to be less coherent than he thinks. And probably what he's going to say is like, we've won the war. Iran, they have been bruised very badly. We bombed them into smithereens. Smithereens, they call it. Back into the Stone Age. They will never have a nuclear weapon. And all of our partners, nobody helped us. We have no allies. He's going to go on and basically, he's going to say we won. We did it all ourselves. It was a flawless victory. Our allies aren't really our allies, and if they want oil, they can get it themselves because actually taking over the Strait of Hormuz would be a problem. And he'll say that the Iranian regime is negotiating and they're much more friendly to the United States. He will then probably backtrack off saying that and off saying that we're done doing the war. And then he'll also be like, but if they do shit I don't like, then we are still at war and I will commit what are war crimes, which is bombing their like energy infrastructure and things like that. Collective punishment, things you're not supposed to be able to do. And then he'll say, but actually it is over and we won and the world is safer because of us. But also we'll still fuck you up if we need to. And the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And then oil prices are going to be a problem for a long time to come. And the long-term effects that he didn't really think through will probably lead to some a short-term burst in the stock market and then long-term economic problems that will probably have some effect on every industry. That would be my guess. Now, I haven't watched it yet, so if it's drastically different than that, I'll come back. But I think it's kind of fun now to just be like, I think I do know what's going to happen. What's been very interesting to me, and I think that the broader topic that I want to cover here is the new era of meme warfare. Now, this is a really interesting new development. This is not, like, I would call it brain rot artillery. This is the new way that we fight wars. It would have been very hard to describe to both of my grandfathers who served in World War II, like, no. So they made Trump look chopped in this video because they're trying to show that they're mogging him. And so, no, this meme is a reference to like a meme from back in the day. And it's AI slop, but Iran is doing it. And so people who usually hate AI slop, they'll actually be pro the AI slop because since they hate Trump, they're going to be pro-Iran putting it out. So they're down with the AI slop, but only when Iran does it. And then my grandpa would like take out a revolver that he uncovered at the Battle of Iwo Jima, and he would blast his brains out, actually. And I would be like, no cap? That's fucking crazy, dude. Grandpa, let me teach you about Comedic. So, okay, so like here's a meme here. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it is boring. And I can never tell how many of these are like true or if Iran actually put it out or if it's just a different AI slop creator. But here's one, and you have Trump as like a baby and Netanyahu as a baby, and they're shooting at the Ayatollah who's shooting back, and then other countries are on a boat like waving. Trump saying help. We need backup! The Japanese prime minister is like, yep, you got it, placating his ego. And baby Trump here. Now, the craziest thing is imagining him serving in war, but he swims over to Karg Island. He pretends to blow it up, and then he ends up sitting at a negotiation table by himself saying, we made a very good deal. Now, here, that's the point of it is, and I'll leave it playing for anyone who's watching, just so you can get a feel for it. We've entered a new era of war where everyone does have a social media coordinator. And that's what's really interesting is like, as influencers have become businesses in need of editors, in needs of social teams, PR, all of this, businesses have become influencers. And now countries, which are organizations, war departments, also have social media teams and are basically, so we're all literally like doing the same thing. The individual becomes an organization, the organization becomes an individual, and everyone has a social media coordinator who's just like kind of over it serving cunt and like thinks they're more tapped in than they are. Like, I don't really know if people drink coffee in Iran. This is the level of American understanding of Iran. It's very low, which is one of the reasons why I think it's not wise to get involved. But let's say they have a chai, and I don't know, maybe I'm being there. That could be me. I'm being honest about me not knowing. But either way, they're coming in and like, it's Iran, so they could be a little progressive, but they're with the IRGC. They're like, whatever, it's a job. My uncle's in it. It's fine. Because if they are a social media coordinator, they are serving cunt and they want to be on trend. And maybe they were like, I know we're at war, but like the lines of that new matcha shop are still a fucking problem. And then they're like going to the Ayatollah and being like, and the Ayatollah reportedly, New York Post, no idea if it's true, is going, and they're maybe having a gay old time. And I wish they could, and openly, I wish they could, openly. Send Brian Noem over there. Get some big tits over there. Get everybody over there, sexually open and free, but also with good traditional values. What do people need to be happy? What do people need to be happy at this point? It's really the question, because everyone I know, and I will get back to AI warfare, everyone I know is trying to be happy in a different way and like not quite killing it. Like, some people are like living these like very like adventurous sexual lives where they're just like doing whatever with whoever at all times, fucking a new person multiple days a week, having adventures, whatever. They don't seem fucking happy at all. And it's like, God, maybe I need a fucking family, and then meanwhile you got people with a family, 3 kids, wife, good job, high up in the administration, and you're just like, I need to have tits. I need my own tits. And then people be like, y'all need Jesus. And then the people preaching Jesus be doing half of the most fucked up shit. What do we need, guys? What do you need out there to feel okay? You need a yoga class? Do you need a lollipop? When is it going to be enough? My God, the war. I feel like the war is, it's not even a real war. It doesn't feel like a real war. Obviously it does if you're there. I'm just saying, like, nothing's got bite anymore. Everything's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it all. We're all staring out into the universe with a 1,000-yard stare. We've been shell-shocked by the amount of shit we've seen online. Half of us became of thinking age when we were 11 or 12 and immediately saw like gore videos online of people chopping their dicks off. We've seen multiple wars. None of it makes sense. None of it means anything. There's a disintegration of national meaning. Meanwhile, like, quality of and standard of living is kind of improving. And people are like, the flat screen didn't make me feel shit. What do you need? Think about it now. And maybe it's a moving target. Maybe you're not going to be there all the time. Maybe today you need to be Mr. Healthy and go to the gym and eat 1 piece of fucking kale and be happy. Maybe tomorrow you need to drink out of Das Boot. But whatever it is, you need to understand that the answer isn't lying in the next thing. It's probably not going to be the next promotion. It's probably not going to be the next kid. doesn't mean you shouldn't do those things. You should do those things. If there are things you want to do, you better go do them. You should organize your life around doing them. But if you put off this concept of once I get it, I'll finally feel good, I assure you, you won't, and you never will, no matter where we are in humanity, how long we've gone on in terms of technological development, whether we've bombed ourselves back into the Stone Age, who the fuck knows? People are ridiculous, but warfare is becoming absurd. So you have the U.S. Department of whatever the fuck, defense, war, doing memes where it's like we're playing Freebird, and then it's like Ray Lewis hitting someone, and then it's just a bomb going off. So it's like, you know, like even when we pretend it, like, I think we should go, and I know people like, oh, the pretense, whatever. No, I think we should pretend like we're the moral center of the world. Because I don't think we need videos of an alleged rapist and then a video of a bomb hitting a fucking wedding to be like, yes, nice. Meanwhile, Iran on the other end is using AI to be like, dude, you guys are fucking pussies, LOL. And it's like, once war is mixed in with my Insta feed, it's just hard for me to sort it mentally. And so we're mixing all these things. Yes, we're at war, but have you seen the war memes? And have you seen the outrage about this? And remember the lady who called American citizens domestic terrorists minutes after they got shot by her organization? Well, yeah, now her husband has balloon tits and he's jerking off to sex workers who were mad because they're also here illegally. And like, you just kind of like look at it all and you're like, right. What's for dinner? Because it's not real. Like it is. It is. But we lose connection with it. We used to complain. There was a lot of complaint, and this is why nothing will ever change. When Fox News started hitting, they had this realization. A lot of, honestly, Rupert Murdoch, his entire empire did this thing where it's like, oh, you have newspapers? Okay. We know people are reading for entertainment. So we are going to make grimy fucking papers. His papers, the Murdoch docs on Netflix, very interesting. Read about, watch, whatever. His papers, they basically were like, what if we just said the worst shit? What if we sent our journalists out to uncover, much like the story we started this show with? Folks, we're all engaged in the same industry. See where I'm getting with this? Entertainment, politics, the mix. He was like, let's send people to basically do illegal things, dig into people's lives, and start rumors that we know are going to work based off of some information, albeit often incomplete, and let's just get eyeballs, get conversation going, get people pumped. And even that was bad at the time, but at least people were getting it once a day, sitting around a coffee shop going, Princess Diana's a slut whore. Not good, obviously. Led to horrible, ruined lives, you know. But imagine having an English breakfast tea, you know, and you used to, for a while, you were there, you were reading the good papers, you were doing the good thing, and then you started to wet your beak a little bit, and you started, Princess Diana's a whore. And, you know, spiritually, you know, that probably wasn't very nice, and this is like a real person, and maybe that's not a good way to be, but like, you know, I'm at the coffee shop, and Princess Diana's a whore. And that gets the people going. It gets the people going. So then with Fox News, he brings in Roger Ailes, who came from TV. He used to do one of the like late night style shows. I forget the name of the host. It wasn't Carson, but it was in that mold. And he's young. He was a prodigy in television. He came over to Fox. Actually, he worked with Richard Nixon, and he helped get Nixon elected because he realized how to make good TV. Yeah, this is politics, but we got viewers out there. I need fucking eyeballs. These were the original people who thought about retention rate. what everyone's thinking about online with the algorithm. It never changes. All we're doing is just competing for people's attention, trying to be more and more salacious, whether or not there's a cost on our soul or the soul of humanity. And now all of a sudden, everything is that because it's a competitive world. So everyone's competing in the same sandbox. And it's like, what do we need to do to fucking get eyeballs, get people going? And now it's everything. And now politics has merged with TV. And that's how it started. And now it's literally like politics is mixed in with influencers, is mixed in with comedians, is mixed in with fucking OnlyFans chicks, is mixed in with Iran, war, memes, and it's all the same thing. And like eventually we're like reaching a point where the human brain is like, I can't. We're losing the joy in it. We're losing the joy. You know, I came on here today with a big pair of fake tits. I came here to have fun, and I did. And I did have fun. And I had fun as one of the, top sluts in the sissy bimboification scene. I did have my fun. But that doesn't mean it's not a problem. So here's kind of where it is like I am capable of engaging in this correctly, but I don't trust anyone else to do it. And when I talk to people, and I've been talking to people all week about this, a lot of people are just kind of like, they're just kind of like, I'm trying to care, I'm trying to pay attention, but like, you know what, folks? I figured it out. I realized what it really all is. We've been inundated with so much crap. So much intense political shit, feeling like the country's falling apart, mixed in with just an over saturation of media, and overstimulation is the word I was looking for. We're overstimulated at all times. And Trump feeds in and he goes on top, and it just feels like we've reached the point where it's like, how do I even keep it all straight? You've just gotten to the point where it's like, what is even going to make a dent? What is even going to make me feel alive anymore? It's hard to get my brain up. It's hard to get my dick up for anything anymore because we've been blasted in the face with insanity for so many decades at this point. What am I supposed to do to even care about something? What am I supposed to do to even feel alive? To feel alive in this day and age. And maybe that's when you start to realize I really just like huge, ridiculous boobs. Maybe in a world that is so much all the time, that is almost daring you to feel something, to know something, to feel like you're an expert, or to feel like you can actually sink your teeth into something. Maybe the world is daring you to find the thing that you just go, fine, I'll take it to the extreme. And you grab a couple balloons and you grab a pair of hot pink shorts and you slap them on your motherfucking body and you go, yeah, I'm a sissy slut and I'm into bimboification. What's it to you? And maybe, just maybe, the reason that story has captured the American imagination this week is because as much as we want to ridicule Brian Noem for being the dirty little slut that he is, a lot of us know it takes a lot to feel alive. And so I think maybe the most radical act of acceptance and understanding and, dare I say, empathy in a world and a country that is devoid of it is to stand in solidarity with him and say, I too am Brian Noem, and I am a sissy slut with huge, ridiculous boobs. And in a free country, why not? I'll see you next week. Thank God I have a podcast.